Keanu had just stepped into Belmare, one of Beverly Hills' most exclusive luxury boutiques. The kind of place where the marble floors shined like mirrors, and the staff could tell your net worth just by the shoes you wore. He was dressed in his usual style: faded jeans, a loose black t-shirt, and slightly scuffed boots. His hair was tied back, and he looked like someone who'd walked in off a quiet street, not like a global movie star. The boutique was nearly empty, except for a young couple near the display of leather jackets and a sharply dressed sales associate standing behind the counter, scrolling through her phone. Keanu walked in quietly, browsing a rack of coats near the entrance. The sales associate looked up and then smirked, just enough to notice. "Sir," she said, her tone already heavy with judgment, "the thrift store is 2 blocks down." Keanu looked up, confused for a moment. "Sorry?" She didn't flinch. "We usually take appointments, and we don't allow loitering." The young woman from the couple nearby giggled. Her boyfriend whispered something, and they both laughed again, louder this time. The room felt suddenly smaller. Keanu didn't say anything. He just nodded slightly, like he was used to this kind of thing. Like it wasn't the first time someone had looked at him and seen less. He gently picked up a long black coat off the rack. The same sales associate stepped forward quickly. "That one's $11,000, she snapped. "Maybe try something from the clearance rack." "Oh, wait, we don't have one." Keanu smiled politely and placed the coat back, but this time, something in his eyes changed. Not anger, not pride, just something colder, older, like he knew something nobody else in the room did. At that exact moment, the boutique door opened again, and then everything shifted. A tall man in a dark suit stepped in, clean-shaven, with an earpiece tucked behind his ear. Security detail. Right behind him, a woman in a navy pencil skirt and blazer entered briskly, holding a sleek leather folder. She looked directly at Keanu. "There you are, Mr. Reeves," she said, her tone suddenly shifting the energy of the room. "We've been waiting. The final inspection is ready." The room paused. The sales associate blinked, trying to understand what she had just heard. "Inspection," she repeated, confused. Keanu turned toward the woman, his voice calm. "Did they finish the remodel on time?" "Yes, sir. The upstairs showroom is ready for your walkthrough. The interior team is just putting the final touches. They've been waiting for your approval before the press release goes out." The woman glanced at the sales associate, who was now visibly uncomfortable. "This is Mr. Reeves," she said, almost slowly. "The silent investor and current co-owner of Belmare." The girl's lips parted slightly, but no sound came out. The couple that had laughed earlier exchanged glances, suddenly silent. Keanu didn't gloat. He didn't even look at the girl. He simply turned to the same coat he had picked up earlier, the one that cost $11,000, and held it in his hands for a moment. "This was my mother's favorite design," he said softly, more to himself than anyone else. "She used to sketch coats like this, when we didn't even have enough money for rent." He ran his hand gently down the fabric. Then he looked up at the couple across the room. "You like this one?" he asked the woman who had laughed before. She hesitated. Yes, it's beautiful." He handed it to the woman in the suit. "Wrap this for her. No charge." The woman blinked. "Sir?" "I said, wrap it. It's on me." The girl looked stunned. Her boyfriend tried to protest, but Keanu just smiled faintly. "Don't worry. She laughed at me, not the coat. I respect honesty." The boutique had gone silent. The kind of silence that makes you aware of every breath you take. And then, without another word, Keanu started walking toward the back staircase, where the upper showroom waited. No one stopped him. No one dared. Upstairs, the atmosphere was completely different. Warm lighting, quiet jazz playing through hidden speakers, and a glass wall that overlooked the entire boutique below. Keanu walked slowly, taking it all in. Not just the architecture, but the energy. The place had changed. He could feel it. The woman in the suit followed him, flipping open her leather folder. "Just to confirm, sir, after the final approval today, we'll proceed with the new campaign launch tomorrow morning. Press will release your name as co-owner and creative contributor." Keanu stopped walking. "Not yet." She looked up, surprised. "Sir?" He turned toward the glass, looking down at the sales associate below, who now stood awkwardly at the counter, pale and rattled. The manager, a man in his 50s, had just entered and was already speaking to her in a harsh whisper. Her face dropped, eyes wide, nodding quickly. "I want to meet the staff," Keanu said. "Sir, the press?" "No press yet," he interrupted gently. "We're not launching a brand. We're launching a message." The woman nodded slowly, unsure where this was going. 15 minutes later, the staff, 7 people in total, were gathered in the upstairs lounge. The sales associate was among them, still trying to stay invisible in the back. Keanu stood in front of them, hands in his pockets. "I know I don't look like someone who belongs here," he began. "I get that a lot. But I didn't invest in this place to belong. I invested because I remember what it's like to be invisible in a room full of people who think they see everything." His voice was calm, but firm. "When I walked in today, I wasn't treated with kindness. I wasn't even treated like a customer. I was profiled, judged, and dismissed. That wasn't about me. That was about a culture. No one dared to move." The sales associate swallowed hard. "I'm not firing anyone today," he said, his eyes shifting briefly toward her. "But I am changing how this place works." He looked toward the manager now. "Starting tomorrow, 10% of every sale goes into a fund for single parents and struggling artists. No customer will be judged by their clothes or their silence. And every employee will be trained to remember, sometimes the quietest person in the room has the loudest story." The room froze, just like the title said. No one clapped. No one needed to. Because when truth is spoken that plainly, it doesn't ask for applause. It just lands. 3 days later, the boutique was buzzing, not with noise, but with something else. A quiet energy, a shift. Customers walked in with curiosity, and employees greeted them with a warmth that hadn't been there before. The air felt lighter. But Keanu hadn't returned. The press release had gone viral. News outlets picked up the story. Keanu Reeves revealed as silent investor in boutique, known for elite snobbery, transforms entire culture in days. Social media exploded. People called it the most Keanu thing ever. Still, no one had seen him since that day. Until one evening. Just as the sun dipped below the city skyline, a black motorcycle pulled up quietly outside the store. The same worn boots stepped off. The same man walked in. No cameras, no entourage. He walked straight up to the counter. This time, a new girl was working there. Young, nervous, but kind-eyed. She smiled. "Welcome to Belmare, sir. Can I help you find anything?" Keanu looked around, almost as if searching for something he'd left behind. Then he pulled out a small paper bag from inside his jacket and placed it gently on the counter. "This is for Emily," he said softly. The girl blinked. "Emily?" "The girl who helped me design the code upstairs last year. She was working part-time here back then." The girl hesitated. "Emily doesn't work here anymore, sir. She left a few months ago. Said she couldn't keep up with the pressure. Customers didn't take her seriously. She didn't think she belonged." Keanu smiled faintly. "She does. More than most." He slid the paper bag forward. Inside is her original sketch. We found it in storage when we renovated the upstairs office. I added something to it. The girl carefully opened the bag. Inside was a notebook and a signed check. "Sir, this is a scholarship fund," she whispered, "for a fashion institute." Keanu nodded once. She just needed one person to believe in her. Then, as quietly as he had arrived, he turned and walked out. The door closed behind him with a soft click. And once again, the room froze. Not because of who he was, but because of what he left behind.